Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at FPPRadio.com. I am your host, Daryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And we're going to talk about planning. You have probably heard the phrase, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And it's often thrown about in any situation to where things did not go the way one thought they were going to go. It's somebody that's just, well, it's all your fault that it didn't happen the way you thought it would because you just didn't plan properly. Even though they're not going to actually tell you how to plan properly. And again, there are times when, yes, things don't go the way you want them to because you did not plan properly. Sometimes things don't go your way because sometimes things are out of your control. But there are the people that just always want to blame, the person for everything that happens. So let's say that you're driving to work and you wind up getting caught in traffic because there's a big pileup of cars, and then you wind up being late to work. There are some people that would say, well, you should have just left work left to go to work early. But how were you to know that there was going to wind up being that accident? Maybe you give yourself that extra 10 minutes. But then, you're stuck in traffic for 20, and then you're late. Now, if you know that there's always traffic, then adjust your times accordingly. But if it's, just a regular day. But again, there are the people that would say, well, you just didn't plan properly. And then there are the people that will come up with a plan and stick to that plan no matter what. Even if things aren't going the way they should be going. They will stick to that plan regardless. And that's what we want to talk about today. Headline of the article from Lifehack: Is planning just kind of guessing? The author of the article, Leon Ho, says, what happens before you have a big test? Someone usually asks you if you have a study plan. What happens when you graduate from one school? Someone will want to know your plan moving forward. Or, in my case, I've got a race coming up. Do you have a training plan? Now, I know that there are training plans out there for various races, be it a 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon, ultra marathon. Yes, those exist, and there are all flavors of ultra marathons. But again, there are these training plans. And last year, I did not stick to one of the proper training plans at all. I just sort of did my own thing while looking at the plan and saying, yeah, I'm somewhere about where this plan calls for. Now, most of the plans will call for a short run during the week and then a long run on weekends. Well, I would do something between what they recommended for the short and the long, both during the week and on the weekends. And yeah, I kind of, made things up as I went along while, again, also kind of looking at the plan. Now, there are the people that would say, well, nope, this is what the plan calls for. I must do this distance. I must stick to the plan. Well, let's say that you go out and you start running and your leg starts hurting. And not just I don't really feel like running today. I'm just going to wind up, saying, oh, my leg hurts. No, like if you actually start having physical pain and the plan calls for a 10-mile run and you're in pain, like legitimate pain at mile 2 or 3, don't go the next 7 or 8 miles. So you can alter plans. that they are not rigid things that cannot be altered. So I digress and continue back into the article. To many people, the idea of planning is almost a superpower. It's a concrete path to success. Without a plan, you can't do anything at all. To an extent, that is true, but in reality, a plan is actually no more than a guess. It's not that concrete. There's no guarantee of success. Hundreds of plans concocted every day fail, if not millions. While planning does give you a glimpse of the future, how we think about it is often misguided. We view it as a GPS that can guide you anywhere. In reality, it's a GPS that sometimes fails to work or gives you completely inaccurate directions. Now, I had this happen to me over the weekend when I was going to a libertarian meeting in a part of the state that I'm not necessarily that familiar with. And it's, well, the GPS did tell me, get off at exit such and such, and I got off that exit, and then it said rerouting. Well, what? You just told me to get off at this exit. Why are you now saying rerouting? And then it took me some kind of weird back way, and I ultimately wound up finding the location, even though when I saw the parking lot, the GPS told me to continue through the intersection and then do something. So, you know, that was weird. And then after the meeting, I was going to lunch with some of the people that were at the meeting. And the GPS tells me to take a right. And now the reason it did that is because there was a big sign saying no left turn out of the parking lot. Well, in actuality, it would have been safe to make a left turn out of the parking lot. But the GPS had me go up and then do a U-turn and then go back around. And it's, wait, what? Why is this so complicated? So, yeah, sometimes plans are like that GPS that gives you really bad directions to where you know it's taking you in the direction that you should not be going, but you follow it anyway because, well, that's what the GPS says. That is the plan, even though it doesn't make any sense. Continuing on, sticking to a plan can be bad. Again, yeah, GPS is telling me to go one way, even though I know it's the opposite direction of where I need to be going. But hey, that's what the plan says, right? Gotta stick to the plan. No, you don't have to stick to a plan. It is not a rigid thing. Plans can be altered. Stay tuned.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs, with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to ZOG.Ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, ZOG.Ninja, code FPP.
Hey, this is Scott from the ANCAP Barbershop, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. Plans can be altered. So can code of various things. But, there are certain things that can't be altered. Well, they could be, but then they don't really stay the same thing. I'm talking about cryptocurrencies. And yes, I know there was that Ethereum thing to where they went back and made mutable something that was supposed to be immutable. But I can guarantee you, with like 99.9999999% certainty that the people at Zencash will never wind up doing that. And why? Well, because they wind up actually supporting the concept of cryptocurrencies, and they have a better cryptocurrency. They have a focus on users and usability. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. And Zencash has zero-knowledge proofs. It's called ZK Snarks, to where you can do shielded transactions. That means that only the sender and receiver have all of the info about the transaction. Otherwise, the network just says, yep, this transaction's good. They also allow for transparent transactions, which are easier to do and don't require as much processing power. Zencash also features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvement, and documentation and wallets in many languages. So not just English and Spanish, a lot of languages, and a lot of different operating systems. Linux, Mac, Windows, Android. Yeah, so you've got a Android in your pocket, you can get a Zen wallet. You're running Linux? Excellent. You can get a Zen wallet. Mac, Windows? Excellent. You can get a Zen wallet. I feel like Oprah standing here. You get a Zen wallet. You get a Zen wallet. You get a Zen wallet. Learn more at zensystem.io. That's zensystem.io. Jumping back into the article about how planning is kind of like a guessing game. To where, yeah, you can wind up putting out a plan, but then you're just guessing. It's an educated guess. Don't get me wrong. There are several types of guesses. There are educated guesses, and then there are uneducated guesses. Plans are definitely, for the most part, educated guesses. But plans, while they can reduce panic, and that's a key point, all humans have fear of uncertainty, even though uncertainty is essentially normative. When you have to do something you're unsure of, your body reacts. Palms get sweaty, you get short of breath. No. You thought I was going to say something about mom's spaghetti. No, I'm not. I am not going to start quoting Eminem during this podcast. Or at least I'll do my best. That's the plan. And yes, that's kind of a guess. Having a plan gives you more certainty and makes you panic less, ... in theory. Imagine driving in a new area. You're nervous and you may be lost. Your friend has a GPS, though. That's a plan. It is a direction. It will list the steps you need to reach where you're going. Less panic, right? Planning is good, but aiming to always stick to the plan can be bad. They say is bad. I'm not going to say is be. I'm going to say can be. And yes, I know is be is not a correct term, but I digress. As President Dwight Eisenhower said during his military days, I've always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. Now think of the same situation in that car. You're driving from New York to Philadelphia. Most people would go south on Interstate 95. That's the plan. But what if on this day there's an overturned truck in the middle of Interstate 95? Now you need a new plan. You need to use surface roads or other routes. The plan has to change because conditions have changed. A plan can be just an illusion. To reduce uncertainties, we worry too much about covering all the bases. We then lack action around how things actually go. There will always be a gap between the ideal world and reality. Again, let's talk about that running plan. You want to run a half marathon. The plan from Hal Higdon, and he has a lot of different plans, not just for experts, but also novices. So you want to go couch to 5K? He's got a plan for you. You want to go couch to half marathon? While I don't advise it, I advise going to 5K and then half marathon. He's definitely got a plan for you. Now, what you might want to do is combine the couch to 5K and then the novice half marathon plan. So, you can alter the plans come up with your own based on what he has. But let's say the plan calls for running 10 miles today. Well, you woke up, you're vomiting, and you've got, some kind of bug, you're running a fever. You probably should not be running, much less running 10 miles today. So if you're just, well, the plan says, that's how you wind up getting yourself hurt. But I digress and continue. Again, there will always be a gap between the ideal world and reality. When we overcommit to a plan, it restricts the way we can solve the problem and neglects other possibilities. If the plan is bigger than you won't be able to deviate from it and make the best decisions in an unexpected situation. Think again about the GPS. Sometimes the faulty GPS will literally tell you to drive on water. That's currently impossible unless you have a hovercraft. So if you follow the GPS above all, you might drive your car directly into the ocean. Planning is essentially guesswork. Don't get obsessed with your plan. Blindly following a plan that has a limited relationship with reality will only make things worse. And let me sort of digress here again, because it's something that I often do. I've had jobs to where the employee handbook says that things are supposed to be done a certain way, even though in reality there's no way to do it in that way and also do it in the allotted time that you have. There was a podcast I was listening to yesterday where the guy was talking about doing customer service, to where the boss says you're to thoroughly deal with all the customers in 5 minutes. What?
Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Daryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Daryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism, and we're talking about planning. Again, the article here from lifehack.org. Link will be in the show notes. Author is Leon Ho. He says, planning is essentially guesswork. Don't get obsessed with your plan. Blindly following a plan that has no relationship or a limited relationship with reality will only make things worse. Think about jazz musicians. They perform with a plan, but they also go with the flow. So basically, their plan is to go with the flow. It's very spontaneous and improvised by the end. It's the same with comedy or other forms of performance art. A comedian begins his set with a plan of jokes and an order of jokes. But he also needs to respond to the audience. Maybe you get heckled. Maybe he gets heckled. Maybe you're the one heckling him. Maybe one set of jokes isn't working. The comedian needs to adjust the plan. Now, back to that GPS example. What if your friend finds a bridge far away that can cross that water that the GPS told you to drive across? Perfect! It wasn't part of the plan, which was a guess in all honesty, but now you have a way to cross the water in your car. So you need to improvise like that jazz musician. Planning isn't the only way to success. Rather, a plan must be reviewed continually. So you don't just come up with the plan and then going to stick to the plan no matter what. Let's say you're a small business owner or a large business owner, and you have a plan for how your process should go. Well, whatever it is, whether you're making, and you know what, I'll just throw out the term that they always used in high school, the mythical widget. You are making widgets. Well, what happens if one of your machines breaks down? Well, your plan is to make 1,000 widgets today. Your machine's broken. How are you going to make 1,000 widgets when your machine's broken? You need to alter the plan. You then need to fix the machine and then find out a way, how can you wind up getting back to that 1,000 widgets per day? The article here continues. Review the plan to see if it aligns with the challenges that you face in reality. Don't let a plan confine you from making decisions on what's best for the situation. Follow the base in the plan, but improvise along the way when facing different situations, especially in the context of work. We tend to think planning is the be-all and the end-all. We have yearly plans, strategic plans, master plans, etc., but work conditions change all the time. Employees leave, new bosses are promoted, the market you compete in shifts, etc. What then? The plan needs to change. It happens at the personal level all the time as well. Don't let the plan be everything. Again, going back to that race training, which is something I'll be doing very soon. Right now I'm kind of in off season because, well, I ran a lot last year. A lot more than I have probably the previous 38 and a half years of my life. So now, taking a break. I'm still going to the gym, and actually I've modified my workout plan. So, yeah, plans need to be evaluated fairly often and then, of course, altered if they need to be. Don't just change the plan for the sake of changing the plan because somebody says review the plan and make changes if needed. That there's a huge difference between change for the sake of change and change for the sake of you need to make a change. But again, coming up in a couple of months, I'm going to again start training pretty heavily for first 5K of the year coming up in April, I think. And then just a few weeks later, I've got a half marathon. So I'm going to have to, pick it up fairly quickly. And I know I'll be able to do the half marathon without much problem at all in early May. But again, from going running, I'm generally doing like once a week right now, probably 3.5-ish miles. So yeah, my running is still, it's not like I went from running a lot to running zero, but I'm not running anywhere near as much as I was. So I'm going to have to, again, work back up to where I can actually run that 13.1 again. And I'm actually going to do my best to stick to one of the Hal Higdon plans. I know I said that I referenced it last year, but I never actually stuck to that plan. I want to actually try sticking to that plan this year, at least for the first race. And then after that, I'll probably just do, some weird random running. And I'm actually helping some friends do a couch to 5K. And for them, I am sticking to that plan. Not for my sake, but for theirs. Because I've said, here's a plan. We're coming up with a plan. I'm taking the Hal Higdon couch to walk a 5K and then the walk a 5K to run a 5K. So turning it from 2 8-week things to 1 15-week training session. And yeah, sticking to that plan. Stay tuned. Here's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and Other Essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Daryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. Now, don't forget, every Friday, I have a plan. My plan is to answer your questions. Now, I realize that sometimes I have to modify that because some weeks I don't get very many questions. Some weeks I get 0 questions, which again is not very many. Like 0 is less than 1 and 1's not that many. So if you have questions, and they don't necessarily need to be, some deep philosophical sort of thing. It could just be something weird that you don't necessarily feel like Googling, and I've had those before. Send those over using the contact form on the website, ama.fppradio.com. That's AMA, as in Ask Me Anything, .fppradio.com. Now, before I leave for today, I have a question for you. Yeah, because I do that every now and then, right? Where I ask you a question, and of course, I can't hear your response because that's kind of how radio and podcast work, to where, I'm the one with the microphone, but like you can shout back at your phone or computer or the internet or whatever it is that you're listening on. And yes, I realize that phones and computers, for the most part, are connected to the internet. And since this is a podcast, you have to have at least at one point been connected to the internet to download it. But anyway, I digress. Question for you. Are you, dear listener, the person whose ears are hearing my voice right now, are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? If you answered yes, then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal. Spend-A-Bit is the search engine for things you can buy, you guessed it, with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Spend-A-Bit has aggregated millions of products from thousands of crypto-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend-A-Bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. That's Spend-A-Bit, all one word, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin or other crypto accepting merchant, reach out, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. spendabit.fppradio.com. And of course, the link for that article about planning and whether or not planning is just kind of a guessing game, that link will be in the show notes. And again, don't forget, every Friday, I answer your questions. Send those over, ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.